Good morning, sir, and good morning, my friend. Okay, so today I present our seminar, but before it's better I introduce myself. My name is Jojo Marmare, and I come from Group F. The first is the Journal 1, an empirical study on the effect of grammar translation method and text-based language teaching on China's college students' reading comprehension. The conclusion is developing reading comprehension ability is an important research aspect in the acquisition of foreign language. The present study focused on the effect of grammar translation method and text-based language teaching on Chinese college student reading comprehension. Two classes of students taught by the teacher research in China's West Normal University participant in the current study with grammar translation method or GTM, class are the control group, and class are experimental group. The subject in the control group were talk through GTM with a button of model and toast is environment group exposed to with the three-stage model proposed. And then the journal 2, the effect of Jigsaw method on the student reading comprehension view from student creativity. Conclusion: reading has many functions because reading can help people to get a lot of knowledge. As we know, reading is very important for our life and for our communication for other people. And also it is supported by 2007 that reading is beneficial not only for career, study, and pleasure, but also for language acquisition. It means that the student must improve their reading ability in learning English. Hammer also mentioned that reading provide good models for English writing and offer opportunity to study language. Language include vocabulary, grammar, punctuation, and the way to construct sentence, paragraph, and text. Reading has important role in learning English language. There are several factors that can affect the good and bad of a learning process. And then the improving and journal 3, the improving student reading comprehension through grammar translation method. The conclusion, based of the research result of improving student reading comprehension through grammar translation method to the third grade student of SMK Privat Depos Depok. The research gave conclusion that ability of student reading comprehension through grammar translation method improved significantly with average in size. Average score is 6,76 or 16%. Through grammar translation method is provided to be effective improving student reading comprehension. Student can easily understand read a text. Students should be active to practice reading from the kind of material given the teacher and some information from mass media as we like the Google and the as in our life is the core magazine and etc. in order to make students can get better result in learning English. And the last journal 4, the effect of using grammar translation method on acquiring English as a foreign language. Conclusion, the research finding indicate the grammar translation method is an important kind of the teaching methodology that the teacher should be adapt it to teach English as the second language, and the research should highlight the advantages or disadvantages of this method. Many reasons are behind the first because it's an applicable method and easily to conduct. The second, the first, the second first intellectual acts. The learner can use will feel unable to express by the target language is interpreting by native language, and that is exactly the core of the method. The third, the great benefit of joining the knowledge of both languages, which free the learner from the ambiguity of the target language. After all, the research recommended that after the exhibiting of the language skill and grammatical rules, the usefulness of translation is decreasing. Therefore, the application of grammatical structure of the phrasing of the language skill in general should be in the target language compare the need from the last must develop to accept the best result they are looking for. As we know, the using grammar translation method can develop our reading and our knowledge how to good reading and how we make the fluently reading a text paragraph or the as our school we study yeah we study many knowledge. The first, we must know reading. We must develop our reading in our school or our life. And then, from our the topic seminar is the effect of the using grammar translation method on student excitement in reading comprehension. As we know, the effect grammar translation method to student to develop their reading. Chapter 1 Introduction. As we know background of the study, language play is important role in human life because it is the medium of communication, talk, and learning. By using language, human can communication with other people to express their idea. Human can communication with other people to express their idea to facilitation to thinking process and to recall the information. As we know, as we are reading, we must have an idea, knowledge from other people and information. English is a foreign language for Indonesian and is used in many international activities such as commerce, sports, science, and education and technology. Therefore, English must be taught and learned at school. In here we explain the identification of the problem. There's the background of problem above. The identification of problem of the structure of state of follow. Number one, there are four skills in learning English. The students should be mastery, namely listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And the second, the student difficult in understanding the reading comprehension, especially in answer the question of reading mistake. And the third, some factor that influence the student reading skill. And the last, the effect of using methodology of teaching English in assessment student reading comprehension. And then the scope of the research problem. The study is focused on the effectiveness of using grammar translation methods in teaching. Reading comprehension is the limit on the junior high school. Junior high school example in student at a same senior high school Negeri 1 Pematang Siantar for grade 7. And then the problem of research. Number one, is there any correlation between the use of grammar translation method and teaching reading comprehension? Number two, does the use the grammar translation method significantly affect student excitement in reading comprehension? And A, the objective of study. Number one, to describe the data of grammar translation method. Number two, to describe the data of reading comprehension. Number 3, to discover the correction between grammar, translation method, and reading comprehension. And the last, to find out the effect of using GTM in teaching reading comprehension for SMP students. F. The signification of the study. Number 1, the finding of the study expected to be useful for. Number 1, the student to improve their reading comprehension assignment. Number 2, English teacher is their attempt to improve the teaching of reading comprehension. Number 2, textbook writer in order to improve the reading fatigue and its exercise text, and etc. And the last, other research in order to get information for partner research. The hypothesis of the research. Number 1, the use of grammar translation method give a significant effect on study, excitement, or reading comprehension. And then the use grammar translation method does not give a significant effect on study, excitement, and reading comprehension. In here we explain the theoretical framework of the theory, and ideas are explain the relationship between the term used in the study. The used theories and ideas are also to clarify the term themselves in order to avoid ambiguity, misunderstanding. The following is: number 1, effect. Number 2, methods and language teaching. Number 3, types of teaching English method. The number 1, effect. According to Harvey, 1987, effect means the change products by action cause any result of outcome. According to Hall, effect is expression product of mind. So effect means something which changes as the result of certain action to treatment to it. Number 2, method in language teaching. Approach and method in language teaching by record classified language teaching method as the dominant language of education, commerce, religion, government, and the Western world. And number 3, types of teaching English method. According to Daniels, 1986, there are 8 methods in teaching English as foreign language, namely: number 1, the grammar translation method. Number 2, the right method. The 3, the audio language method. And number 4, community language learning. And the last, communicative language teaching. The grammar translation method is not new. It has had different names, but it has been used by language teachers for many years. At one time it was. And the characteristic of grammar translation method. The grammar translation method is characteristic. Much vocabulary is taught, is formed of least isolated words, and long elaborated explanations of the intricacies of grammar are given. Number 5, review the techniques of GTM. There are some useful techniques associated with the grammar translation method. Below is a expanded description of some of these techniques. And the 6, excitement. Excitement means recognition related to a learner when all required learning outcomes have been successfully demonstrated. And the review of the related literature. A. Reading comprehension. Reading is a complex cognitive process of decoding symbol for the intention of conclusion or the refined meaning of reading comprehension. It is the mastery of basic cognitive process to the point where they are isometric, so that attention if read for the analysis of meaning. Reading is means of language acquisition, of communication, on the sharing information on idea. Like all language, it is complex interaction between the text and the reader with a say by the reader, through knowledge, experience, attitude, and language community for many people. And the chapter 3 research decide the type of the study associative based the level of explanation of the research can be take classification such as descriptive, associative, and comprehensive. For decide this study will use experiment research. And B, location and type. And C, population and example. The population of the 6th grade 7 at SMP Negeri 3 Pematang Siantar, according to Ericon, if there are length amount of subject of the population, the sample can be taken between 10% until 50% or 20% to until 25%. The results will choose the sample randomly as random sampling, so that the sample of this study is 0,5% from 120 it is study student example. And D, research instrument. A, tryout of instrument. F, validity of the test. The research instrument to collect the data. A reading test will be used and try out the instrument. The test is good, it is valid and reliable. To ensure that the test is good, its validity and reliability should be established. And validity of the test is the extent to which the text measures what is supposed to measure. And then reliability of the text. The reliability of the text refers to the consistency of the text from one to another time. And H, the technique of data analysis. In order to know whether there will be any effect of using grammar translation method or GTM on student excitement and reading comprehension. And as we know from the title about the effect of using grammar translation method on student excitement and reading comprehension, as we know the effect can benefit and very useful for our life, for our study in our future. In here, as we want information or communication with other people, we must reading, and we must develop our reading so that we can segment receive the information and many steps to get it. Example, we can read the magazine, wallpaper, and book, and etc. Okay, until here my presentation. I hope you can, my student, understand and can get it for our presentation, and I hope this very benefit for our future. For the last, I say thank you.